It's so weird because this is not like an ordered number of podcasts. Normally it's like podcast 5, 6.
Who knows? But I am about to bust you guys. I'm busting. I'm coming to part of the scenes. This is so exciting. It's the Negan Holiday Spectacular.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that all the lights and the decorations and everything?
Matt, did you finish the Here Comes Negan Claus song you promised to intro tonight?
Yes, I did.
Here comes Negan Claus. Here comes Negan Claus.
Right down Negan Claus.
What's the name of his place? What is it? It's the refuge.
The sanctuary?
The sanctuary.
Yeah, because they're the saviors, so they live in the sanctuary.
Yep. Man, I was trying to think of how that could come.
He's got a baseball wrapped with barbed wire, caving it. Oh boy, too many syllables.
Gonna hit you in the face.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're getting.
Negan knows we're all Negan's children. That makes everything.
By the end of this episode, we're gonna have a full song, and it's gonna be great. You guys, I
was
brought
a higher register too. I didn't. I'll bring it down a couple.
I'm a little bit like Santa Claus tonight. I brought a goodie bag full of wonderful Negan visual aids. Despite the fact that we don't actually record this with a visual component, we can enjoy it.
Right, absolutely.
You know, who's worried about the listeners?
Right.
So I'm going to set up some beautiful stuff. I've got my favorite Negan covers.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful bag.
I'm hardly a Walking Dead expert. Yeah. I'm a little bit of the resident expert. I'm the only one here that reads it on a month-to-month basis. Not hating on anyone who doesn't, but I'm just saying I do.
I read it on a hardcover to hardcover basis.
When you say that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's so cool. JP's got the setup.
Yeah.
So if you listen to our regular podcast, this is, going to be all comic. We're talking about Negan. This is for folks that haven't read the comics and really just want to know what all this hype is following this Negan character. We're going to tell you, if you're one of the folks that commented and said you don't like us talking about the comics, obviously this is not your podcast.
So you can still listen and maybe enjoy it. Try something new. It's like trying asparagus for the first time.
Right.
You don't know if you'll like it or not.
You pleasantly like it. Wrap it with bacon.
Exactly.
Bacon,
wrap our podcast in bacon and try it.
Brown sugar, soy sauce.
Matt, do you like the black and white Negan variant?
I was looking at that movie. It's amazing looking, dude. He kind of reminds me of a zombie meatloaf from Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's what this doll looks like.
And that's a Skybound exclusive.
Figure.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So today we are talking about Negan. We're going to get you prepped for what is going to probably be the biggest baddie to be on the screen thus far, if not ever.
He's my favorite, absolute favorite.
I've been doing a lot of research from the comic books on him, and man, he seems like a badass.
He is the ultimate gangster. I
think Al Capone is the ultimate gangster.
Oh, stop
but
it.
I just want to...
I'm looking at this, and it comes with a knife.
Yes.
It comes with his trademark weapon, which we'll talk about here in a bit. It has a name, one of 3 weapons named in the Walking Dead world, but it also has a iron. Is that for the betrayals?
That's for, yeah.
Really?
Very nice.
I didn't see that. Let me see that.
If you cuckold one of Negan's wives, you get melted in the face with an iron.
Wow.
So we're going to talk about Negan, what we know about him, all of that. JP is definitely, I read the comics, but JP, like you said, reads them on a week-to-week basis.
Since issue 49, I've been reading month to month.
And what issue are they up to now?
150 will be in January.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 comics with great Negan covers. I got the Negan action figure. So for the first 9 callers, I'm going to be giving this stuff away.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It would help if we weren't pre-recording it.
Yeah, I was...
we don't have callers, do we? I've got to hold on to all this stuff.
And what would they call?
Damn, you get to keep it.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I feel like that was planned a little.
So, JP, tell us a little bit about Negan. I mean, let's start at the beginning.
He's the ultimate gangster, I'm telling you. Like, the governor was a psychopath, but this dude is just straight G. His philosophy is you follow the rules that I set down, you're going to survive. We're all going to survive. And, those rules might be a little bit, to my benefit more so than anyone else, but that's just the way the world's working right now.
Right.
So he's the ultimate savior. He's got a bevy full of beautiful ladies.
And basically what we have with Negan is when they designed him, they were thinking of Henry Rollins is who they based the design.
Who was Henry Rollins?
He was an old rock star from the 80s.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
Was that like the 80s?
80s, and then I remember he was a musical guest on Saturday Night Live.
He was in a lot. He was in Jackass. He was in
Just look up.
Sons
You'll
of
recognize
Anarchy.
if you see his face. You'll recognize.
Yeah, I'll pull it up while we're talking. But he's in a lot, and that's who he was based off. So those of you that know who Henry Rollins is, You can kind of get a visual if you've not read the comics. And he has a trademark weapon, which, spoilers ahead. I mean, obviously,
this is going to be fraught with spoilers.
Spoilers
Comic
central.
book spoilers.
So, you know.
I'm so excited.
And this is also going to be a very NC-17 episode because Negan uses a lot of naughty language.
A lot.
Lots.
The F word. Hasn't he said it's like his favorite word?
I would imagine it has to be.
But so Negan comes
Forgetful?
in
What's
from
the F word we're talking about?
fruitful.
Oh, fruitful.
He loves the word fruitful because by saving you and everything, he creates a fruitful.
You shut your fruitful mouth right now. I get it.
Right. He's very, very witty, very comical in a dark, twisted way.
Yes.
The governor, from what I would gather, the governor was like the difference between the governor and Negan is the governor would act more off of like getting enraged.
Yeah,
he would leave himself vulnerable, whereas Negan is a very well calculated, very intelligent psychopath.
The governor was a sadist, man. He was raping people and chopping off limbs. I mean, I'm not saying that Negan doesn't do that
Yeah,
stuff.
but
He
Negan
doesn't
has a
rape,
certain.
though.
He has a certain.
He has a code.
Moral code. Yeah.
Which will bring us to our first spoiler we were talking about, Spencer. If you are watching the show, and obviously Spencer is Deanna's son, who Rick has now told her that he would watch after like one of their own. Actually, in the comic, tries to betray Rick and them to Negan. Just to give you an idea of the difference between like the governor and Negan. Negan then kills Spencer because he cannot stand a traitor. Even though he was giving him information to make him more successful, he still has a code. He doesn't like
and not
traitors.
only kills him, disembowels.
Disembowels him. It's
Spencer's
rough.
all like, Rick is not your boy, Negan. He is not your boy, all right? Let's get rid of him, put me in charge. I'm my father's son. My father ran this place for years, and everything was peachy cream.
Yep.
Is that the saying? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I like that actually better.
And then his stomach fell out.
Yeah, his stomach did fall out.
So,
but
I
Negan's
mean-
all like, Rick, he hates my guts, but he's out here scouting supplies for me, and you're here bitching and moaning. Why don't you kill him and take over if you're that gung-ho?
Right.
You know why you don't do that? Because you got no guts, pal.
And then
literally,
he slits his midsection. He's like,
foreshadowing.
oh, there's your guts.
But
And he has a good laugh.
Let's talk about Negan's introduction to the comics because some folks feel like that'll reflect very
Yes.
highly on his introduction to the show.
I've got the first Negan issue, number 100. Check it out, you guys.
Oh.
And because it was 100, they felt they had to take out an important character.
Oh, yeah.
Since it was issue 100.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Negan's introduction, JP.
Well, it wasn't the group's first interaction with the Saviors. Much like in the TV show, they stop them when they're en route to the hilltop, which is the first settlement they really discover outside of their own. And they're making their way back home, and they stop them, and they're like, look, everything you've got's ours, much in like the clip we saw. And Rick's just like, all right, Andrea, I can't exactly remember who all was in the van, but it was his A-team, and he's like, give them everything. And they open fire and pretty much take them out. And that's Negan's justification for bashing in, whose skull.
Which we're going to talk about. But so that is like a gut-wrenching scene.
But that is
in
the
the comic.
setup. That's
right.
the setup.
So now's your last chance to turn back into Spoiler Central because nobody really cares about Spencer. You do really care about this guy. He kills Glenn.
He does.
Very brutally, because Negan has a signature weapon. I don't know the other. No, I do know I know one of the other. There are 3 named weapons in the Walking Dead universe, and that goes from comic to show.
I never realized.
Well, comic to game, and in the Walking Dead Telltale game, one of the dairy farmers names his shotgun or his gun is like Sharp. I don't know the name, but it's named, and then there's some other girl that names a weapon. But Negan's the only one I think in the comics with a named weapon.
I wonder if Michonne has a name for her sword.
Not that we know of. But it's Lucille, and that's a barbed wire laced bat.
That's B.B. King's guitar's name.
Yeah. And I think that had some influence as to why they named that. And that's his signature weapon that he uses and introduces to us by playing a very nasty game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Do you have any of the dialogue that because one thing that really struck me is when he's basically saying because they killed like some of his guys that he needed to kill someone to make up for that. So unlike the governor who's very rash, he goes, I'm not going to kill, like he points at Glenn and says, I'm not going to kill you because I'm not a racist. And then like tells Rick, I'm not going to kill a father, right? And like has a reason why he doesn't want to kill each person. So then he leaves it up to eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to make a martyr out of Rick because he knows that would just, cause insurrection and what have you.
And then, like I said, I know he said he didn't want to kill a kid or something. Is why he didn't kill Carl.
Right.
Glenn, he didn't want to kill because he didn't want anyone to think he was a racist. So you're dealing with a bad guy who's a bad guy, but also is very opposed to racism.
I've got the comic. It's hard for me to even talk
right.
to you guys.
Absolutely.
You sink into these things.
I'm looking at it from here, man. It's like it just looks
But
awful.
yeah, you're right. He plays eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think it's also important to, we didn't really mention this. Basically, Negan's thing, he's running a protection racket. Like, there's 3 communities, and he's like, you know what, give me half your stuff, I'll protect you from the walkers and whatever else comes along.
Very reflective, or I don't know if that's the term I should use, but very reminiscent of A Bug's Life with the grasshoppers.
Ooh, I never saw that.
Was that A Bug's Life or Ants?
I never really saw Ants, but Bug's Life, yeah, definitely.
Where the big bugs, the grasshoppers, were saying, like, we're protecting you from all of the evil things out there, and for doing that, you give us, like, a lot of your food supply.
You know what? JP, I'll give that to you. Yeah, so that's very gangster. That is
I'm
very
telling
gangster.
you. Yeah.
Number 1, JP, before we go further, that's Henry Rollins.
Oh, geez, I totally know
That's
who
who
that guy
Negan
is.
was based off of. Was that fellow right
I
there?
see the resemblance.
Yeah.
And
While you're listening to us, if you're not driving, just Google Henry Rollins right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are driving, pull over real quick.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of folks say they listened to us on the way to work, which is pretty cool. So,
I like that.
Hope you get you in a good mood.
hell yeah. But so, all right, we get first introduction to Negan is he comes in and he has all of our main crew on their knees.
Yep.
And plays a very sick game of eeny, meeny, miny, mo to determine which one has to die to repay the lives of his guys that he lost. And unfortunately, it lands on Glenn. And then it is the most heart-wrenching thing because as he's beating Glenn's head in, Glenn is yelling for Maggie the entire time. I mean, we're talking eyeballs hanging out, brain matter. He gives Glenn credit, though, and says he can't believe he's still alive after the first hit because the first hit literally dents his skull in.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was hard to see.
I don't think a lot of people expected that probably when they opened up the
But that just sets the precedent for what this guy's willing to do to maintain his order.
And that's important to the show because that's why he resonated so bad at, like throughout the rest of the comics. Like, that's what you started on. First impression was, all right, this dude is not playing. And if they want to do that in the show, they're going to have the same type of introduction. He's going to have to come in and you can't kill someone like Tara or Gabriel or one of these little minor characters. Though we would love that.
Kill the nurse?
That could be a bonus. Like, as he's beating the main character to death, he looks at her and goes, "Pow!" Like just kind of like
Don't
a little
get my
bitch slap.
hopes
You just got no love for this lady.
No, but seriously, yeah, they're going to have to leave off because he's making his appearance at the end of this season, the season finale.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome if they have the lineup, of the 4 of them, and then he kills one of them. And kind of
my predictions were Abraham and Daryl are my 2 predictions on who I think he'll kill.
Somebody on the YouTube page agreed with you on the whole Daryl thing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to kill Daryl.
Yeah, I think that it's time anyways because Daryl's kind of been like, I mean, he just like a really good comment that I saw. Someone said Daryl used to be like at the forefront, have a lot to say, and if nothing else had a sense of humor to add to it. He just kind of mumbled this whole season. He's like, oh, you look ridiculous, Carol.
Yeah, it wasn't a Daryl Rich season.
No, so sure. It might be time to part ways, but I feel like Abraham might be foreshadowing his own death by wearing his dress blues, which this is just going back on if you're just finding this video and you haven't listened to our podcast. I predict that it's going to be Abraham or Daryl. I could be completely wrong. You think it's still going to somehow be Glenn, right, JP? Was that you?
Well, yeah, I said that early on, and then I was like, well, I think maybe Aaron will kind of save Glenn's skin, and that way they kill like a liked character, but not like a main character.
And see, they need to avoid that though. Like they need to do like in the comic, they brought him in by saying, here's one of the people that's been there since the very, very beginning. Now he's dead, and it's like with Aaron, you're kind of like, oh, that sucks, but he's not.
They've just with the cop outs lately, I could totally see it happening.
You're right.
I think for the benefit of the show, it does need to be a mainstay.
How many episodes have they aired of the show?
This season. Oh, you're talking about in total?
Yeah, in total.
Like in total. Oh, wow. What are there? 16 a season minus the first one. The first season was only 6 episodes.
That's too much math for me.
You two talk for a second. I'm going to Google.
So
JP, so from the point that he bashes Glenn's brains inside out. Take us a little further into Negan's journey and introduction to the group.
All right, so Rick swears vengeance after this, but he also knows that they can't just rush in. Like Negan's got a crew of guys, like a massive crew.
Where does he get all these people from?
At one point, like 70 deep,
it's
right?
a lot of dudes. But at the same time, they never have guns on them. So Rick's like, you know what? If I can rally my troops, bide my time, come up with a strategy. And he's also just discovered these other 2 communities, the Hilltop, which is where Jesus hails from, and the kingdom,
which is Ezekiel.
Matt, do you know what Ezekiel has?
Oh boy,
Ezekiel has a tiger.
A tiger,
Yeah,
named Shiva, or Sheva. Did you say Shiva?
He's got a tiger.
A guy with a tiger?
Yeah,
and he also has a cane sword. So
Yeah.
he got him and Michonne.
What?
Have a thing, right? Like they're
they
lovers,
are two
right?
beautiful African American individuals with luxurious braided hair.
And awesome sword skills, and one has a tiger, and the other one probably is a tiger in between the sheets.
Guys, rereading today, like I totally forgot. At one point, Michonne tries to seduce Heath, and in the comic, Heath doesn't look like super masculine. At first, I thought Heath was a lady and Michonne was bi, and so yeah. But anyway,
Michonne's probably still a little bi.
Well, I would hope so.
Right? Yeah.
But, anyway, that's another story for another time. But yeah, so at this point, Rick has got the whole, everyone at Alexandria is like, look, we're bowing down to this guy because we got no choice. Little does he know that him and his inner circle are working on plans to unite these three communities and, turn against Negan.
Right.
So that's what's going on.
Yeah,
because Negan is just like, I mean, he really, like, I think it's just so much rougher with Negan than the governor. I mean, poor Rick, too. Whenever there's a supervillain introduced, I mean, he's going to lose some part of himself.
He is.
He lost a hand to the governor. Negan twists his leg around.
He does.
Which he never fully recuperates from.
There's still a
right?
possibility for that to happen. Like, that could totally happen. Because what better way to show, like, dominance over Rick? Because there's nobody really come along who you think has the ability to overcome.
Right.
Rick.
Whenever
like,
someone steps up to Rick, you're like, oh, they're going down.
Yeah, even the governor at his worst, I was like, Rick's got this.
Which is cool to think.
But he'll be fine.
And it's cool to think. I'm not trying to sidetrack too much, but the writers had said as far as in that universe, when the governor was choking Rick, like it was it. Like there was no coming back for Rick. If Michonne wouldn't have showed up, Rick was dead. Mm-hmm. Like, that would have flat out killed him. So that's pretty cool.
And like in the comic, that's what Negan immediately recognizes. He's like, this dude, Rick, he is missing a hand. He's not the biggest dude in the world. And these people still follow him. He has got to be just bad to the bone. So
I like how they wrote Rick that way, I
mean, there's just automatic, respect from Negan to Rick, even though he is bending him over.
It would have been so easy to write him as, this big muscular guy that, I mean, I like that Rick is just this kind of everyday kind of guy that ended up being an absolute badass.
I think it's also important to point out that Carl witnesses Glenn getting murdered. And Carl is the one that Rick doesn't really let on right away, what he's planning. And it does not sit well with Carl. You guys know what Carl does?
What?
So Negan's getting his first shipment of goods from Alexandria. Carl sneaks aboard the van, and once Negan and his boys get back to the sanctuary, they open up the back doors, and there's Carl with this big old rifle, assault rifle. Yeah.
What?
And he opens fire and kills 6 guys.
And that's interesting. That's a great segue to the next point I was trying to get to was that there is a very interesting dynamic between Negan and Carl moving forward.
He's like the wacky uncle.
Carl does not like him in the sense of he knows he's a bad guy and he wants to kill him, but they kind of start to have this little bond. Because even in the newer episodes, right, Carl's visiting him in his jail cell.
Yeah.
So you start, because Carl in the comic is a lot darker, I feel, than Carl in the show. And he's also still only 8 or 9 years old, as opposed to
I think he's
16.
12 when this is all going on.
Is that how old he is?
Yeah,
12?
he's 12.
That's it? In the comic books, he's only 12?
Well, not right now, but when Negan first comes on the scene, Carl's 12. Mm-hmm. And so Negan's got Carl at this point, and he, you're thinking, what's Negan going to do? Is he going to beat this kid? Is he going to molest him? What's going? Because you don't really have a good strong hold on
he
Negan.
Says that
what
too.
He's capable of.
He says that when he's. I remember reading that in the comics when he's got Rick in them, and he's before he kills Glenn. He's like, I could get some of my boys here to run the train on your boy. He's like, I'm not into it, but I'm sure I've got a few that are into that type of thing. So I mean, it's some twisted stuff, but I think they said that he just saw he just instantly had a lot of respect for Carl.
He likes him. He likes the kid. I was really hoping that Negan was going to keep Carl with him for a good long time.
Right.
But he really only stays there, I think, for a night or something, a sleepover.
And how does
basically.
Carl get back? Does he just bring him back?
Yeah, Negan just brings him back. I've actually got a beautiful piece of dialogue I'll lay on you guys if you like from the comic.
Sure.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so Negan's got Carl in his room. He's already passed him through his little room with all his wives, so Carl's all impressed and everything. And one of Negan's guys comes back. Negan left Lucille in the van. Like Lucille is like Negan's sidekick. Like Negan really loves this bat. And so anyway, the guy comes up to the room, and when Negan sees him, he's just like, I never forget Lucille. That's how crazy this whole incident is. And what he says to the guy, now I'm no actor, and if my handwriting were better, I'd get Matt to read this because
You're doing great. I'm just sitting back.
Am I doing all right?
Matt's
just so
into
far.
it. Matt's
I was sitting back just
into it.
watching you. That's
All right.
I got into it.
This is what Negan tells this guy giving him his bat. Were you gentle? Were you kind? Did you treat her like a lady? Did you eat her pussy like a lady? I'm just fucking with you. A baseball bat doesn't have a pussy.
And that's actually
That's
Negan,
what he said, yeah.
Negan quote. So,
I hate using that kind of language, but that's what
right,
he's saying.
I like this guy a
no,
lot.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
like it's
funny.
one of those, obviously you said it up front. This was going to be an NC-17
Yeah.
episode. If you don't like that language, we apologize, but we're really trying to show you who you're dealing with, and it's going to be interesting to see how that translates to on screen because a big part of him is his foul mouth.
Yeah, and we're with AMC.
Yeah, on AMC they're going to have to push as far as they can go.
Oh, yeah. I found out something. If you're not on a major network, then you can say anything you want.
Right.
Absolutely anything. It's just they choose not to because they'll lose ad revenue.
Right.
So if they wanted to, they could make him drop F-bombs left and right.
I never knew that.
And AMC would still be fine. I mean, they make about plenty of money off of The Walking Dead, enough, I think, to run that
What I
channel.
think is really, really funny is that they said in the season 4 finale that Rick was supposed to say they don't know who they're fucking with.
Right.
But they were like, and I mean, they were dead serious. I thought they would like laugh. He was like, the Scott Gimple was like, but we a lot of families watch this show and they're like, yeah. It's a show where they just left a camp of people that were eating people. And, well, actually that didn't
But we
happen
want
till
to
next.
keep it clean for the
So bad
families.
example. They didn't find that out till the next one. But still, it's like this is a show where heads get chopped off daily, faces get smashed, guts, and you're worried about that
People's
one
heads
F-bomb.
get blown off, yeah.
Yeah, you're worried about one F-bomb.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a very finicky country we live in.
I mean, gratuitous violence, that's not going to hurt the young minds, but some naughty language, we can't be
that's
having
gonna
that.
do. That's
Yeah.
going to completely break
A-
down
a-
the fabric of
A
society.
nipple here and there, we can't have those nipples
Stop
on
it.
cable
You can't
TV.
be having nipples unless
No.
they're man nipples. You can't have woman nipples,
Yeah,
but you
right.
can have man nipples.
Thanks, sure.
If they lactate, not on TV.
That's the difference. Like, what's the difference between like a really,
If they
really
lactate,
fat
you
guy's
must
nipples
hesitate.
and like a woman with a really ample bosom nipples? Like, there's no difference. They're both really fatty boobs.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the difference is.
I don't know. I don't know.
The FCC does, I guess.
Right.
It's
That
bumming me
FCC.
out
That's
to
why
talk
we are
about-
here.
Sorry. Talk about Negan some more. That seemed to really
yeah,
cheer you
yeah,
up.
I do
That's
like
why
him.
we're here on YouTube and not on television because we don't have to worry
Freedom.
about the FCC
Right.
here. Not
Feels
until
nice.
they get a chokehold on the internet. Which.
So what else should we talk about?
All right, so going forward, we've already said, Negan has a relationship with Carl,
Yes.
not in a bad way, but not in a naughty way. But,
No,
he's
sexually insatiable, but not with the little boys.
Tell us a little bit about his. Now, Negan has like this whole like thing of women.
Yeah.
And let's explain what happens.
harems.
That'll go into Dwight,
Yeah.
too, his right-hand man. Negan has some women, and if you try to get with one of his women, something bad happens.
But just out of the gate, like this is completely voluntary. Pretty much, they're all holed up in this big old factory. And when a hot mama comes in, Negan's like, look, you can either have a job where you work, 8 or 12 hours, however long their shifts are, and that earns you points for goods and food and services, yada, yada, yada. But if you'd rather, be my hoochie coochie mama, you don't have to work for nothing, but you have to be faithful to me.
Right.
I will not tolerate unfaithfulness. And so that's where, if you go back to your fella, or you cheat on him at all, the fella gets an iron to the face.
And that is why there's an iron in the toy.
Like I showed, like a 1920s, like the iron from the Monopoly set.
Yeah,
Like that
that's
kind
what
of
he
iron.
does to
Did you
Dwight.
see that in the packaging?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
That is really cool. Not pretty cool. That's really
So,
cool.
do you think we've seen Dwight yet? Do we think that? Because I was, you.
I
would
feel like
think
that guy is Dwight, the
You
guy
feel-
that they
right.
met up
Which
with at the
fella?
end of the episode.
The guy that's already with
that
the crew.
Sasha and Abraham and
Yeah.
Daryl
But
met
some
up with.
folks were thinking somehow that the guy that robbed Daryl
That's
was going to
kinda
end
where
up
I'm
being
leaning.
Dwight.
That's what I'm saying. That's who I think that
Do you
Dwight
think it's going to be him,
Yeah.
not the guy at the end of this?
Yeah, those are two different
Remember?
fellas.
Oh, I thought. Well, okay, I know what you're saying now. The
Yeah.
other guy with the diabetic girl and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
I don't feel like we've seen the last of that guy. I mean, as far as I feel like he's going to have more. Of
We
a
better
presence.
not. He's got Daryl's crossbow.
Right.
But yeah, Dwight is just so ticked off with Negan because Negan took his lady.
Yeah, I see. Because I was reading Wikipedia, like I said earlier
Yes.
about Negan, and I noticed like the descent of his character, like his trust with Negan, kind of starts faltering little by little, as the episodes go by, don't they? Because there's at some point Negan asks him to do something and he hesitates.
He does. I can't think exactly what that is.
This is talking about Dwight.
We're talking about Dwight.
Oh, taking the shot on Rick
With the tainted crossbow, right.
And now they never explain how does Rick survive that?
He had one clean bolt in his quiver. A bolt is the arrow that comes out of a crossbow.
Did he do that on purpose?
He did.
Okay.
One would
And
hope.
that's what he shot Rick with.
The clean one.
I've got another act to act out if you guys will indulge me.
Yes,
Absolutely.
please,
Let's hear
Masterpiece
it.
Theater.
Okay, so the comic opens up. All you see is Negan's face. And he's like, "Let the slaughter begin." And then you turn the page, and he says, "Zero serving zero. Get fucking ready. If you'll excuse me, I'm going." Oh, geez, I messed up a little bit.
That's
so
okay. That's okay.
he-
Cut.
Yeah.
Can we take hold of
Let's go back.
I liked your enthusiasm in that
Yeah.
one. That was much better than the first one. But
I need your notes.
No, you're doing great.
I get
so
more
far.
from negative criticism.
Did you
than
hear how
positive feedback.
Justin? Did you hear how his voice changed for that one?
You liked
the
it?
first one? You didn't
Yeah.
really put a voice on it. That one, there was a little bit of
Oh, you
baritone
started
in your
becoming
voice.
Negan.
You
I'm
were. That's what
slowly
acting
getting
is.
to that place.
Acting is just being.
Right.
You guys, when I first started reading like Negan, the Negan comics, I really thought he was a British dude. I heard him like British in my head. I don't do a good British accent.
I see. I just imagine like an all-American biker badass. So it would be really cool to try to hear that dialogue. Could you use a British accent on one of these reads?
Can you get like a
for
British
us?
biker? Can you do
Oh
that?
boy,
Come on.
this is gonna be the
Let
worst
me hear
ever.
it. To all of our UK listeners, obviously we're not disrespecting your dialect.
No, I love the
We
British.
just don't know how to speak.
Mimicry is the highest
know,
form of flattery.
Exactly. So, and the most badass villains of all time have to have British accents. So, JP,
That is true.
let's
There's like
get
a
a
Jaguar commercial for all those British guys.
yeah.
British Jaguar.
That's an awesome commercial too.
Okay,
So let's hear a Negan.
all right. To finish
British
setting up the
biker.
scene, I forgot to put the stage notes in.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, Negan beats this guy pretty bad at the ping pong, which maybe the guy threw the game because he's so afraid of Negan. That's
Of course.
inconsequential. And Dwight's standing there, and Dwight's old lady, who's not his old lady anymore, she's Negan's lady, standing there as well. And when no one else wants to play Negan, Negan's like, "If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go ping pong my dick all over these titties. Catch you later, Dwight."
Talking about
I was
about
supposed to do
Dwight's
that.
wife, too,
Yeah, I was
Dwight.
supposed to do that in a British accent.
that's
wasn't
great
I?
though. We
That's
heard
okay.
it,
That was
we
good.
heard
That was
it in an
good.
American dialect. Now reread it.
Just
but
the last line, just the last little bit about ping pong and them dick all over
right,
the titties.
right,
All
in the
right.
British accent.
Ah, jeez. Okay. I'm getting myself in that place.
And I think they say tallywhacker instead of dick. I don't know.
It would just go better with the British.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go ping pong my tallywhacker all over these tits, these titties. Mm-hmm. I'll catch you later, Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
That is brilliant. Is
that all right?
I applaud you, sir.
That was beautiful. That was
right.
Whenever
beautiful.
I try a British accent, it goes from British to Australian to redneck, and then just back to what the hell is he doing?
It's a
That's
very
all-
fine line.
All
That's
in a
awesome.
sentence. You know
Here's
what
a
I mean?
fun thing, and you can do this at home too. If you say beer can in a British accent,
You just
you said bacon in a Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
Put some bacon on the griddle, man.
Some bacon.
Clean up all of these empty beer cans.
Or if you want to sound like you're from Boston and you want to look for your car keys, just think of khakis. I'm looking for my khakis.
I'm looking for my khakis. Don't park your car in the Harvard Yard. You get a fucking ticket.
You guys just took me around the world,
Hey, on this podcast, we like to. We can
It's
show
very
you the
educational.
world.
This is a
Yeah,
very
nice.
informative.
And you were just
Yeah.
in Disney World.
That
too.
was good. I was. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes. I took you back there. We're traveling, man.
Oh,
All right,
boy.
so we've got a few minutes left, but with Negan, all right. Now I'm trying to think of the things. This is a basic. I mean, if you're like one of those people, you're wanting like
I know there's
crazy
ways.
thorough
Yeah.
rundown, then you let us know and we will do one where we are like we'll script it and we'll make it superficial. This was just kind of like a conversational podcast to kind of get you geared up for what to expect out of Negan. You're wondering what's all the hype. JP has shown us.
There's a lot of ground to cover. We really would have to do like a 2, maybe even a 3-parter just to cover all the bases.
Right. I mean, he's such a, and I think that's why he's such a popular character
Yeah.
too. Is like, I mean, with the governor, it was basically he had two sides. He had his in front of people side where he was in front of like civilians where he pretended to be super nice and everything, and then you had the crazy him, and that was it. Whereas with Negan, you've got this guy that's absolutely a murderous psychopath, but he has a code. something the governor. I don't think the governor had a code.
And at the end of the day, he's a real gentleman.
Right, he is.
There's oh boy, I'm not going to act anything out, but another thing that plays into the whole Dwight and Negan's code. So Abraham gets shot through the back of the head with a bolt fired by Dwight. His woman Holly sees it, and so she automatically hates Negan and all those guys also. But they capture Holly. And while Negan's doing something in a secret lair, one of Negan's boys is getting ready to rape Holly. He's pulling her britches off, this whole thing here. And Negan walks up on him, and he's just like, we don't rape. We're not rapists. We don't rape. That's not us. And he kills his fella, and he's just kind of, soothing Holly. He's all like, we're not monsters here. We're not monsters. And the comic ends. And next month, he's got Holly, and he's exchanged. I can't remember exactly.
Right.
But he's giving her back to Rick and all them as a gesture and exchange. Who can remember? And so he pushes her out. She's got a sack over her head, and she stumbles towards him. And little do we know that he killed Holly. She's a zombie with a bag over her head. And as they embrace her, she bites into one of the Alexandrians.
Yep.
So, he wouldn't rape her, but he totally murdered her and used her as, a biological weapon.
Is Holly on the show?
Yes, that's the girl that Abraham saved in the construction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is just out of the comics.
Was her name actually Holly on the show? Did they say? Okay, yeah.
Well, I think on the show. Don't quote me, but
yeah, because I don't think they've really shown her.
That's who Abraham leaves Rosita for in the comic.
So even in the comic, though, Rosita was so much hotter than that one. But but it's just such a multi-dimensional character with Negan. Really, very brilliant story writing in the sense of. In the character. I mean, it's so easy to write like this evil, maniacal guy that's just pure evil. I mean, that's kind of been done 1,000,001 times. But to have someone with so many different sides, and again, he has a code. I don't think we've seen that. The governor had no code other than to do what the governor wanted to do, whereas Negan...
A megalomaniac.
There's going to be times when we as a viewer are going to sympathize with him, or
right?
At least be like, okay, I get where he's coming from on that. I mean, he's still a really bad dude, but I get that.
If you've ever seen Tombstone, please tell me you both seen it and love it. Okay, one of my top 3 favorite movies ever. Yeah. The guy that played Curly Bill, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's a good actor, but he played Curly Bill, the main bad guy other than Johnny Ringo. But I watched an interview with him where he was describing, his mindset for playing the character, and he said, if your villain you can't have a villain that's as strong as your character, your main character-wise, not equally as badass of a fighter, but we're talking if you can't write your villain to be as interesting as your main character, then you've just, it's no point. You've just got a very bland, and it's just really, that goes with Negan too. It's like you don't just have this guy's bad, tries to kill Rick and them, battle ensues. It's like you've got this whole...
Can't argue with that.
Right. Yeah, that's a really, I mean, that's really
just
true.
as, very interesting. Like you said, you might sympathize for him a little bit, but in the same breath, you then want to see his head get cut off.
Right. Like in the same episode, you'll go from being like, okay, I can kind of relate to him, to nice being like, oh my God, this guy's nuts.
Like JP said, you're going to go from, that's awesome that he didn't let that girl get raped, to then the next time you're like, son of a bitch, killed her.
Yeah.
He
pretty much killed her with his bare hands.
But the only thing that sucks is that we've got another 8 episodes to go before we really get to the meat of Negan. We've got another 8 episodes and another 6 months.
Then we're just going to get teased. I mean, we're just going to get like the tip of the iceberg.
See, all they've said, all that I've read, like in
just
still sticking that NC-17
I said iceberg, but I knew that was coming.
I hate it. Just the tip.
But I know that I'm trying to just move along on that one. But I do know, like Variety and stuff, like Hollywood Reporter they've said that he'll make an appearance in the season finale of this season. But then we've got all summer and then a little bit of the fall. Right. Before we actually get to see the meaty parts of his acting. The
Walking Dead, it's not always a good thing because you'll predict something so awesome and then it won't come through at all. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing in The Walking Dead to their credit. But like they think that they need to show up and kill somebody to leave us like, oh my God. And then, you just are like, cannot wait for the next 6 months. Mm-hmm. But I feel like they'll kind of cop out and basically like some guy will step up and he'll be like, are you ready, Negan? And then he'll step up and be like, let's move or something, just something like that. You're like, man,
yeah.
I mean, I already know what the guy looks like. Right. I wanted to like get an introduction of how, I'm
hoping they give him something. I'm hoping he comes in with a bang.
Right. Because then people who don't read the comics are going to see something bland like that and going to go, I don't give a damn.
Especially as anticlimactic as the mid-season finale was, they really got to give it to us good.
Guys, and on a side note, I just want to say this. If Carl doesn't lose his eye pretty soon, I'm going to lose my shit. Like, I swear, Carl needs to lose his eye.
That
soon.
eye needs to go.
It's got to go.
I think you should shoot him in the face yourself, like the actual actor. You should track him down and disfigure him.
Okay.
You're that
Can
bent on
you
it.
find out the address? And all
Hell no, I don't want no part of this.
Okay.
Anyway, you guys,
I'm a lone wolf.
if I can show you guys one last thing out of my goodie bag, they're finally in the comics. I mean, it's not that Negan hasn't been around, but he hasn't. Yeah, let me pass these around. What am I doing?
Let me see these.
They're in such nice condition.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like in
that's
the
why I'm trying to be
wrapper.
so
They got the
easy
white
with it.
thing, the white cardboard
I'm a
behind
collector,
them.
sir.
I can tell.
But no,
you're a connoisseur, sir.
Yeah. I gotta blow my money on something, right? And I don't do blow anymore. So
Or
anyway,
hookers.
yeah, staying away from that.
Yeah.
But this is the most recent cover, and as you can see, Negan is standing behind Rick with his hand on his shoulder. Negan's been locked up in a cell for like a long, long time.
Yes,
Rick looks so old, and he's got a creepy claw hand.
Yeah. But Rick's finally ran up against something that he doesn't know how to face it, and so he's coming to
getting to Negan
Uncle
May
Negan
I look
for
at
help.
this?
Yeah.
May I?
No,
Do you
by all
think-
means.
Do you think that Negan will end up trying to kill Rick still, or do you think that he might actually side with Rick, being he has respect for
Hasn't he already
leadership?
proved? Like, what is he playing at? Because the whole thing happened where they left the
cell
gate
door
open, but he
yeah.
didn't leave. Like, he was trying to show a sign of good faith or something.
I think Negan's basically just like, you know what? I don't have to escape. Sooner or later, you're going to
gonna
come to
need
me, pal.
Well, if there's one thing the show has tried. Do you mind if I open this?
No, by all means.
One
go.
thing the show's tried to really reiterate is that whenever you try to take the high road in something, it's going to bite you in the ass. And then, so in his mind, he knows you're going to need me and my style of justice at some point if you want to survive.
It's true.
So hopefully, if you are a fan of the show and you don't read the comics, or maybe you just kind of read them here and there, and you really wanted to see what all the hype was around Negan, hopefully maybe we did a good job of maybe just painting a picture. Obviously, like JP said, it would be a 2-3-parter if you wanted to get like professional, well-written documentation of every move this guy's made. But
I just like picked out my favorite juicy nuggets.
Right. We just wanted to give you an overview of Negan, some traits, some things to look for, to maybe think, oh, I heard them talking about that on the Podcasting Dead or whatnot.
Who's this guy?
That's Dwight.
Oh, that's Dwight.
Yeah.
With the half-burnt face. Let me see.
Yeah. He's holding Lucille.
Yep.
This is an
that the
epic image.
gentle? Is that when he was asking him, was he gentle and all of that?
No, that's the most recent issue.
this is the most recent issue.
Lucille, we just assumed was lost in the war, but Dwight's had her all along.
Ah, very nice.
But yeah, this episode's pretty much just all about Negan's most gangstalicious moments to me.
Right. And just giving you an overview of who he is. Like, you know, he likes to cuss. You know, he's got a very interesting code.
Mm-hmm.
You know that he's a badass. You know that he's ruthless. You know that he's a murderer. He's not
a very
rapist.
complicated fella. Like, I
Very,
bet his
very.
eHarmony bio is like 10 pages long.
Oh, it's got to be.
I mean, he needs like 7 women just to satisfy.
I'd love
him.
to see someone who studies psychology like diagnose him. Does he have borderline personality disorder? You know, it's like what is driving? Because obviously something's not.
If we have any listeners that are psychologists, please comment on this episode and let us know what you think's going on with Negan's mind.
And if you listen to our other podcast, we're going to change subjects before we go.
What are we talking about?
About our, knife giveaway.
Oh, I didn't think we were going to talk about
The
it.
Glenn knife giveaway.
So exciting.
Okay, so if you haven't heard our other podcast, you should go over to our channel because right now we've got it. We were going to do it for a week, but I think we should push it out a little bit because Facebook is so strict on when you try to give away weapons, which might be a good idea. But they're very strict on that. So it's been harder for folks to find it than we thought. And we want everyone to have a chance to win this because between my little brother, JP, Matt, and myself, I think one of the 4 of us is going to kill the other 3 in order to get that thing because it's such an awesome knife.
I won't kill you guys.
He's like, I'll just...
It's a lot like The Simpsons when Bart and Milhouse and all those guys threw in on the first issue of Radioactive Man, and then they're like, who's going to keep the comic? And it got destroyed in the melee.
We all want this knife. It's the knife that Glenn has been using from part of season 5 up till now.
Beautiful.
It's a great knife. It's by the great folks at Taylor Brands, Schrade, Uncle Henry, Old Timer. They own all of those, and they were super awesome and gave us one to give to you, the listener. So just go to our Facebook page, find the giveaway video. And
we're up to 49 likes on the Facebook page.
Right.
If we get one more, I'm already including the belt.
Well, and that's the thing. We can get thousands of views on Facebook, but gosh darn it, I mean, not on Facebook, on YouTube, but we are having the hardest time getting our Facebook page up. I guess it's because Facebook wants you to pay to promote so bad, whereas you used to could just find it.
Yeah.
So, you the listener, if you're new to this, hey, go find our Facebook page and like it. Find us on Twitter. We're just The Podcasting Dead. If you search Facebook and Twitter, you'll find us. And subscribe to this channel. I mean, we've got a lot of exciting, fun things coming out.
All we need is one more like, and I'll include. We already got the belt. I'm going to include some memorabilia, probably all of not just JP's stuff. All your comic books. I'm sure throw them in the box. I'm sure throw them in there. I've got some more memorabilia, like some action figure stuff that I'll throw in there. Remix. And
that's how flustered I am right now.
A handwritten note from Daryl Dixon.
I mean, watching other men handle my comic books,
how does that make you feel?
It's a little violating, but also a little bit arousing.
I haven't washed my hands.
I'm the only one with a comic book in my hand.
So my oil's all over your comic books.
We better get off the air before this gets too saucy.
Yeah, what's above NC-17?
Well, X.
Yeah, it's just X,
right?
X.
Okay. Yeah. All right, well, hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Once again, head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe and enter for your chance to win the knife. It's very simple.
Do it.
You're going to have to comment a keyword on a video here in the next week or two, but we'll get to that. Main thing you have to do is go like our Facebook page and go like Schrade, Old Timer, Uncle Henry's. It's
They're
all
right
one
there
page.
on the. Are you going to put the link on this video also?
The links will be in the description. So go like their Facebook page, like our Facebook page, and go back and check out some of our other videos. If you like to talk, we do episode by episode podcast as well.
We do it.
And we love The Walking Dead, and so feel free to comment.
The success of this giveaway dictates whether we do it anymore. So if you want us to keep doling out free stuff,
I mean, we've got some really cool ideas moving forward. We're talking about giving away everything from comics to compendiums to I mean, lots of Walking Dead action figures. But how this goes is really going to dictate whether or not we're going to continue pushing really hard for the giveaways.
It all hinges on this.
And plus, Schrade was super awesome enough to give us this knife, so at least go like their Facebook page, because they do a giveaway. No kidding, the Schrade Facebook page does a giveaway just about every day.
I was looking on there. Man, they give away some good stuff, too.
All the time. So if you like knives, that's the place for you. You're an outdoor type person, or just a collector. They give away. So go like their Facebook page, like ours. Ours, we post a lot of memes, a lot of Walking Dead humor.
It's all fun.
If you haven't gotten it by now, we like to laugh. So a lot of our Facebook is Walking Dead themed memes and stuff. So you'll like it. You can share it with your friends and videos, all kinds. So this has been the Negan podcast. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Comment. We love comments. We were talking about comments before we got on the air. We love it. So we appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Justin.
I'm Matt.
And I'm JP.
And we'll see you next time, right?
Next week.
That's right.